So apparently a lot of you guys like these little story time videos of mine, and I like telling them, so hey, why the hell not? But anyway, today's topic is dating somebody who has a spouse, husband, or boyfriend that's incarcerated. Should you date somebody or be romantically involved with somebody who has a prison boo? Long story short, no, hell no, don't do it. It's a bad idea. It ain't worth the headache and stress. And if you do it, don't expect it to last long. Don't expect it to last longer than maybe even 6 months to a year. Especially if y'all are screwing around with each other for an extended period of time and you catch feelings, they're gonna eventually get out. And it's gonna be like Roddy from Baby Boy. You don't want them problems. Trust me. And ladies, I don't know why y'all put yourself through that BS anyway, because y'all end up with some a-hole and then he end up doing some stupid shit and going to jail, and y'all give him the same usual BS story. Oh, free my hubby. I don't care how many years they give you. I'll hold you down. I ain't gonna give your kitty cat away. I'll write you once a week. I'll call you every day, and I'll continue to put money on your books. And then the dumbass finally gets out of jail and he cheats on you within 3 weeks. So what did we learn? But I'm gonna tell you guys two different stories regarding this because I've experienced this twice. And just for my own safety, because a lot of people who know me will probably know who I'm talking about, so names don't need to be mentioned. But the first one, this was a few years back. Well, probably about a decade back now. Anyway, met this girl on Facebook, as a matter of fact. We was messaging each other back and forth or whatever. And then one night, we decided to link up with each other. And she probably lived probably about a good 25, 30 minutes out. We was texting back and forth for a minute. So I decided to go and see her one night. So it was about 11:30 at night. I was like, it's kind of dark. Is this the place? And then I called her, told her to come out just to make sure that it was her. And it was her and nobody else. So I was like, yeah. I was like, okay, this feels like a cool vibe. This feels pretty safe. And then she was nervous. She wasn't really saying anything because we was texting back and forth for like 3 or 4 months before we finally linked up. And I'll never forget it. Like, we was in her bedroom, laying in the bed, got our feet kicked up and everything. And then we was watching the first Avengers movie on my laptop that I bought. And let's just say one thing led to another, and you know what happened after that. Okay, so after we get down to business or whatever, a few minutes later, she says, can I tell you something? I say, yeah, sure. She said, you promise you won't get mad? I paused for a minute. I'm like, yeah, sure. What's the deal? She said, well, I should just tell you that I have a husband. I said, come again, ma'am? She said, yeah, technically on paper I'm married, but my husband's locked up. He's only got 3 years left. He got in trouble for drug charges. I'm like, well, you could have told me this beforehand. And I wasn't particularly mad about it. It's like, well, were you going to tell me at all? And that's gonna go into my next story. But she was like, well, yeah, it's just that, he's been away for so long and I've been so lonely. And I'm gonna tell y'all, that's the reason why a lot of these chicks be lying when they say that they got a man that's locked up and they're gonna hold him down. I would only say that maybe like 10% of girls actually hold their man down when they get locked up. But a lot of them, they be out here in these streets roaming. Either that or they just go back to whatever guy that they was talking to before their man got locked up. But even after that, we still kind of continue to see each other on and off, for a few months or whatever. But she had moved like maybe close to 45 minutes or an hour away. And me, I was working night shift and I was in school too. So, I didn't really have time to see her like that. But I haven't spoke to her probably in about maybe a year or two. We still cool, but luckily nothing particularly bad happened. But I just thought I would share that one. All right, now let's get to the really juicy story. And believe it or not, this happened before the previous story that I told you guys. Now, me and this girl, we kind of linked up the same way. All right, I know y'all see a pattern here. But anyway, we linked, we chilled, talked one night. We just decided to enjoy each other's company. Nothing physical happened. But, we was talking to each other back and forth one night. And then one night, she came over to my place or whatever. And, chilling, kick back, watching a movie. We ate some stuff. And the thing is, like the previous girl, she had a couple of kids too or whatever. But anyway, me and her, we get down to business as well. And, I had to take her home at probably about, I don't know, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. But, I should have done a little bit more research on that because it turns out that she had a man who was locked up too. But the only difference is this man got out a hell of a lot sooner than the previous one. Like, oh, well, because I was talking to her probably like in April, but her man got out in November. So Yeah, I mean, I didn't really expect it to last long, but here's the thing. The more that me and her talked, the closer that me and her got. So me and her continued to see each other for a few months. And then right around the time that it's time for her dude to get out, that's when she kind of cut off all contact with me. I'll never forget this. It was November, right? So I text her, right? And then she says, "Oh, well, my man is out, so I can't really talk to you like that anymore." And then I go on Facebook, and then she blocks me because she don't want him to know that she was talking to me while he was locked up. And you guessed it, not even barely a month after he gets out, he cheats on her with 3 different women. And guess who she calls to talk to about it? Me. So after this happens, she calls me over because they have 2 different arguments. One of them was just a back and forth argument. The other one was a physical altercation, but I'll get into that one later. But anyway, she called me to come over just to come and talk and vent or whatever, just to get it off her chest. And so I was probably about maybe 10 or 15 minutes away. I was like, all right, I'm coming over. And as soon as I pull up, park in the parking lot or whatever, she lived on the very top floor of these apartments. I text her. I was like, I'm outside. And then she says, okay, come up. And I'm still proceeding with caution because I don't know if her, if whatever dude that she's talking to, if the dude that gets out of jail is in the parking lot waiting for me. Because I'm pretty sure by this point that he has gone through her phone and seen her talking to me. But anyway, like I said, I'll talk about that later. Anywho, I knock on the door and then she opens it. It's really her. And then, I see her, her 2 little kids, her 2 little boys playing or whatever. And, we just kick back, sitting, talking, chilling or whatever. And the thing is, I don't understand why they're going back and forth, arguing with each other, and then she's still going to take his ass back anyway. But anyway, I go home from her place probably at about 2 or 3 o'clock or whatever. I was going to leave as soon as possible because I didn't know if or when he was going to come back tonight because she said that they got in an argument and he just walked off. He's probably going over to the side bitch's house or something, whatever. But anyway, now is where it gets really interesting because they have another argument. And this time, he actually lays hands on her. It was probably about, thank God that I'll never forget this because thank God I didn't have to work the next day because it was probably about maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever. She didn't even text me. She called me. She said, can you come and get me? Can you come pick me up? I said, what's up? She said, I'll tell you when you get here. And then, so I pull up or whatever. And then I see another car in the parking lot or whatever. I'm like, wait a minute. This is the place that I normally park. I'm like, whose car is this? And then I text her. She wasn't answering. And then I call her and she said, I'm coming. I was just on the phone with Fool. And it turns out like, they got into a fight, he bats her across the face and she wore glasses. So he broke her glasses while they were on her face. And then I was like, because I wasn't sure if she, wanted me to physically do anything. But anyway, because this is where it gets really tricky because I'm telling a lot of y'all dudes out here, do not try to be no hero. Don't be, especially be involved with these, a lot of these women who already got a husband, a baby daddy, whatever, who got a violent past. Because you gonna call one night, she gonna call one night and be like, oh, he hit me, he put hands on me. I can get my new nigga to beat your ass. And all of a sudden, you go over there and try to be a hero or whatever. And then guess what? You're gonna end up fighting and scrapping with him. And then somebody's gonna get arrested. And it might be you, or worst case scenario is you hit the dude, he falls the wrong way, he cracks his skull in the concrete, breaks his neck, and he ends up, and then guess what? Now you go into jail for manslaughter. Or worst case scenario, you go over there trying to be a hero and fight him, he pull out the strap, or he pull out the pink tink, and then now your ass laying up in the ICU, or you end up dying. But yeah, I take her over to my house just to get away from the chaos, and apparently he took the kids with him, and she stayed the night with me. I took her back the next day. She wanted to get back home earlier. She's like, well, as soon as you take me home, I'm going to go get the lock changed on my door so he can't get in. But first, I'm going to try to figure out a way to get my boys. But yes, you guys can pretty much guess what happened next. After he cheated twice, after they got in physical altercations and a whole bunch of arguments and threatened to take the kids, and they was getting lock changed on the door, guess what? She still took his ass back anyway. And this went on for another 2 years until she was finally done with him. But yeah, y'all, long story short, do not date or otherwise be romantically involved with somebody who got somebody that they waiting for to get out of prison. It's not going to turn out good for anybody. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoy story time. I look forward to telling you guys more of these. I'll be back with another one soon. Peace out.